Joe Biden will not be the nominee. I don't see how you can look at everything that's been going on over the past year, to be honest, past several years, and conclude this man will be the Democratic nominee. With Jon Stewart coming on his show and saying, screw the primaries, have a convention, we pick someone else. I think it's clear where the media machine is going. I think you take a look at even Fox News, and the narrative machine is a churning. Biden is out. Now, there is a little old problem of Kamala Harris, and Trump has this funny quote from his rally the other day where he was like, if Biden did anything right, it's picking Kamala, the greatest insurance policy to make sure they don't replace him. But they're going to. And I think it's plain to see. Now, look, okay, fine. Maybe I'm wrong. But with this story right here, okay, in the latest news on polling, there is no world, in my opinion, where the Democrats will allow Joe Biden to continue. Why? Well, you clicked this video. You likely know Donald Trump is beginning to win in New York State. When you look at the polling, the predictions, New York is always deep blue Democrat. Yet, right now, Democrats are extremely worried because in New York swing districts, places where Joe Biden won by 23 points, Donald Trump is now winning. We have the story from Politico. Biden support slips in deep blue New York. We're a battleground state now. Democrats are worried the president is taking New York for granted as the state becomes surprisingly competitive. Take a look at that. Donald Trump said he was going to win New York. I don't know that he will. He's down by 8 points. But this is like a D plus 30. Joe Biden has a new problem, Politico says. A competitive race in deep blue New York. Elected officials, union leaders, and political consultants are panicking over polls showing a steady erosion of Biden's support in a state he won by 23 points 4 years ago. They're so worried. They've been trying to convince the Biden team to pour resources into New York and shore up his campaign and boost Democrats running in a half dozen swing districts that could determine control of the House. Biden aides have not focused on New York, committing no significant resources to a state where they expect the president to easily win all 28 electoral college votes in November. Perhaps. But it's going to be close. And I think what these Democrats aren't realizing, I think many of them are, but I think, a lot of people around Biden, a lot of the lower IQ personalities, you go to these guys online, you say, Trump's going to come close in New York, and they say, so what? Biden will win. And you say, this means that Trump will win Congress. Congress is not winner take all by state. It's by district. And while New York may be blue in terms of electoral college vote count, they have Republicans. And these swing districts that weren't normally swing districts, they're now going Trump. So don't be surprised if Republicans end up winning here. Now, that being said, Republicans are the worst. Look, man, at least the Democrats will spit on you and then tell you why they did it. Republicans will spit on you and then say, I don't know what you're talking about. We're trying our best. It was an accident. Democrats will beat you over there with a club and then say it's for your own good. Republicans will stand there and watch and say, well, if only we could do something about this, while they smile and pat the Democrat on the back. I can't stand the Republican Party. They're just so awful. I'm going to break this down for you. The Democrats are awful. The Republicans are awful. The Libertarians are awful. The Green Party's awful. They're all awful. I'm the black sheep. Don't listen to me. I clearly don't like any of these people. I suppose if I came out as like a staunch, hardcore Republican, party, hoorah, hoorah, maybe I'd have a bigger audience or whatever. But let me just pause real quick and say, Democrats are evil. They lie, they cheat, they steal. They launch the J6 committee. They put people in prison. They abuse the system to go after their political opponents. They're lying half the time, and the other half, they're probably just not saying anything at all. The Republicans are spineless and do nothing. The GOP won't even hold Merrick Garland in contempt because he defied a congressional subpoena, while Bannon and Navarro are in prison for this. I'm not asking for revenge. I'm not asking for retribution. I'm asking for equality under the law. Show me the system exists. Show me government exists. Oh, okay. Democrats can put two guys in prison and Republicans sit on their hands. Republicans are garbage. Libertarians, you say? The libertarians are pie in the sky people who believe in wackadoo politics. Let's be real. There's a reason why they got, what did they get, 1.2 or like 0.8% last time around? Now that I've sufficiently insulted everybody, the Green Party doesn't even register, and I don't know who else is left. The Green Party's wackadoo as well. Now, I like the libertarians quite a bit. The Ron Paul libertarians, the Mises Caucus guys, they seem to hit the nail on the head pretty well. And then what happens? Well, look, for a variety of reasons, you get Chase as their nominee. Not like they were going to win anyway. But my understanding is that when they were voting on their nominee at the Libertarian Convention, a bunch of the Mises Caucus delegates left. And they let this guy win. You know what, man? I have very little confidence in anybody. They're all just so awful. So it is funny to go back to the news that we're looking at New York shifting Republican. All right. And so the warning signs are impossible to ignore and have been building over the past year. 2 private polls conducted in a swing New York House district and reviewed by Politico, one in September, one in March, found former President Trump leading Biden by 1 point, a virtual tie. And public polls over the last 4 months found Biden's lead had winnowed to just 8 points across New York. An unusually narrow gap in a state where Democrats outnumber Republicans 2-1. Quote, we're still acting like this is a one-party state, which for pretty much 20, 25 years it has been, said Democratic Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine. I truly believe we're in a battleground state now. Biden, whose campaign is in free fall after a shambling debate performance last month, is yet to pay much attention to the state beyond high-dollar fundraisers. He was most recently in New York on June 29th. He was most recently in New York on June 29th to raise money in the Hamptons and attend a dedication ceremony for the Stonewall Inn Visitor Center in Manhattan a day earlier. He has been appearing in traditional battleground states, including Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, over the weekend, as the 81-year-old tries to silence doubts over his age and mental acuity. Now, Democrats want Biden to get serious about the Empire State as they warn of the existential crisis to democracy posed by Trump's potential return to the White House, according to interviews with 10 Democratic Party officials, consultants, and political leaders. A contested race in New York exacerbates Biden's re-election troubles as members of his party continue to call for him to step aside or question his fitness for office, including 2 members of the state's House delegation. And it would cost him time and money he'd rather be spending on the country's 6 swing states, siphoning millions of dollars to play in the costliest media market in the country. The money that needs to be spent here will be subtracted from other areas he's going to lose. Former Democratic New York Governor David Paterson said. Top statewide Dems, including Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, have signaled shared public support for Biden. Schumer, though, has been sparing in his public comments about Biden since the president's debate performance nearly 2 weeks ago. Here's 538, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at this. The latest polls out of Emerson. You pull out Joe Biden, Trump landslide. I mean, look, if Joe Biden is not the nominee, Shapiro, Trump up 8. Warren, Trump up 10. Gore, Trump up. Gore, are you kidding me? Clinton, Trump is up 7. Sanders, Trump is up 6. Buttigieg, Trump 10. Whitmer, Trump 10. Newsom, Trump 8. Harris, Trump 6. Biden, Trump 4. I hate to say it, but Biden really is the best bet Democrats have. I don't know who they're going to pull in. Michelle Obama. That's really it. She polls really well. We'll see. Emerson has Trump and Biden tied. How? Oh, this country, man. I tell you what. July 7th morning consult has Trump beating Biden by 2. Now, here's one that I really love. Ben Dixon and Amandi International Polls has Hillary Clinton beating Trump by 2 points. Sorry if I don't believe it. Yo, look, I can't stand the Republican Party. I absolutely just, I hate them so much. I try not to say it, but I do. I hate the Republican Party so much. Ugh. Libertarians are like your goofy neighbor kid where you'll like have weird conversations about the goofy things you did. He's like, you know, it's like 16-year-old kid next door and he's kind of doofy and goofy, but he just discovered like, I don't know, In Excess for the first time. And you're like, oh man, you know, and you talk about it, but it's really, it doesn't matter. That's like the Libertarian Party. You hang out with them and you reminisce of the good old Ron Paul love revolution days and how the Federal Reserve is garbage and taxation is theft, you say, and you know it's going nowhere. And then the people who actually live in the house, Democrat dad, Republican mom, or the other way around, whatever, they're bickering and fighting and complaining the whole time. The Republicans do nothing. And it's like watching this family mercilessly beat their child. And we'll call it the Libertarians too. They're in the backyard getting yelled at and screamed at. Democrat dad is just whipping these kids with the belt, and you're like, you guys need to stop doing this. And they're like, they like it. It's for their own good. And Republican mom is like, well, I would do something if I could, but I mean, I really can't. He's hurting himself, really. I mean, people can see what he's doing. That's how I feel about all this. Because Republicans right now, you got Merrick Garland in contempt, and Speaker Johnson's like, oh, but they're in free fall. Why would we do anything about the crimes they commit? What does that have to do with anything, dude? Stop letting them get away with crimes. In fact, in this analogy, I guess Democrats are mercilessly beating your kid. Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro are in jail. Nullify that. At the very least, get them out. Man, I tell you, I hate all the political parties. They're all absolute garbage. We need a new political party called the Fire Everyone, Nothing Else Matters, I Don't Care Party. Here's my party platform. When elected president, I'm only going to go in and just fire everyone. And then I'm going to leave. Give me 1 week. I don't want to be president. I don't want to be involved in any of this. 1 week, and I'm going to fire everybody. Bye. That's all we need. No, nobody wants that. I mean, actually, maybe a lot of people want that, but nobody will run on that. Can we get someone to run on that? Can we get someone to run the Republican ticket where it's just like, look, I don't know what he's talking. They're going to be at the debate. It's going to be like, when I'm elected, we're going to focus on health care. And I'm like, I won't. I will not focus on health care. I'm just going to fire everybody and then I'm going to resign. So you guys think about your VP because that's going to matter. And then whenever the debate happens, and they're like, so you're saying you do nothing? Well, mostly, yeah, I would do nothing. I'd fire everybody. I would dedicate 100% of my resources to firing everyone. Just gone. Call it whatever you want, okay? And then the next person can come in and hire whatever. I ain't saying it's going to solve your problems, but oh boy, it would feel good. We need people to vote en masse to get the incumbents out. That's what we need. Lord help us. I'm so sick of the Republicans, dude. Here we go, baby. Cook Political Report moves 3 swing states to lean Republican. This one's massive. They also moved 3 Democrat states from likely Dem to lean Dem. Former President Trump is now has an edge over Biden in 3 key swing states of Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada. The new ratings underscore that even if Biden survives the calls for him to step down, the Democratic Party still faces a bigger challenge ahead, winning in November. I look, man, can you believe there are people actually predicting a Trump landslide? Yeah, for real. Look, I'll say this, much to the chagrin of people like Sam Cedar who cry all the time about, like, why do you care about my opinions? I never talk about you. But here I am talking about him, talking about me, because I said I was right about 2020 insofar as I could not predict Democrat electoral strategy. That is, Trump's economic numbers were good. The predictors were in line with historical trends, but universal mail-in voting dramatically changed everything, and the strategy employed by Democrats resulted in a Biden victory. I think that is an accurate assessment. Like, Trump won the bellwethers. Trump won key swing states. Moody's Analytics predicted Trump victory based on economic factors. I'm looking at these things being like, wow, look at the historical trends indicated Trump victory. I'll put it this way. I'm not wrong because I'm not actually asserting a particular opinion outside of I thought the media analytics were correct. Nobody knew the quote unquote shadow campaign was happening. Now, based on everything we're seeing, they're predicting a Trump victory, but we have no idea who Trump's even running against. We don't even know who Trump's VP is. Dude, we are 4 months out from election. This is all wacky bonkers BS. I'll tell you where I'm at right now. I am so pissed off at the Republican Party. Part of me really wants them to lose, but I wouldn't cut off my nose to spite my face. So I get it. And I'll show you why in a second. Maybe we'll do a bigger segment on it at 1 p.m. We got this from 270 to Win. The presidential election interactive map. This is where we're currently at. This is the current forecast. Republican 268. Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia are now lean Republican after Biden's failed performance. They must swap him out. They have no choice. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, well, let's do this. If Democrats win these states, let's just put them at lean Democrat. Because let's just say that's what happens. 270 electoral votes for Democrats to Republicans, 268. Now, that being said, Republicans would need only contest one of these states, maybe Wisconsin, in order for this to be a disputed election. It would go into a contingent election where the House would then decide who the president is. The thing is, it's a slim majority in the House. We're really looking at House delegations, and there's way more Republican House delegations. Trump would likely win. Democrats would claim it's illegitimate, blah, blah, blah. So we'll see. We'll see. My bigger concern right now is that Republicans have done nothing to address the Help America Vote verification scandal. That is, of course, something we've covered extensively, where we are seeing hundreds of thousands of people every week register to vote without IDs, and tens of thousands every week come back as having no match in the Social Security Administration database. Meaning, there are people who are trying to register to vote with bad information. Now, someone brought up earlier, this is a Timcast.com member, so shout out. Y'all should become members at Timcast.com. Maybe we do, it'd be a fun thing to do is a Friday bonus segment with one. Yeah, this is a really good idea. Maybe I should do this. Y'all submit questions early in the week, and then we do a special segment where I just talk with a couple of the Timcast.com members about projections and predictions. 'Cause I'll tell you why. Someone called in yesterday. We often get great callers. So here's how you go to timcast.com, you click join us, become a member. If you're a member for at least 6 months, you get upgraded to the next, you get an upgrade. If you sign up at $25 per month at timcast.com, you instantly are upgraded. We're gatekeeping because we don't want Antifa and other far left weirdos trying to come in and disrupt things. Once you do, you can submit questions. People vote on the questions, then you call in, you're on Timcast IRL. Here's the reason I bring this up is we often get really, really great questions. Yesterday, someone brought up that a lot of the anomalous voter data from the Help America Vote verification system is coming from college districts or districts that are near universities. And he was wondering if it was that young people were registering young people en masse. And Rep. Bridget, who is here, said, no, they don't vote. And I said, well, hold on. That's just it. If they go and start pulling names and social security numbers from college databases, this all starts to line up. Let's break down a potentiality. You go to a college or university district. You look through their records. You see social security numbers and names. You start writing them down for voter registration without these people knowing. Submit them because you can't go through the DMVs. You have no ID because they're not the people, right? So these are fraudulent registrations. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying hypothetically. You go to the universities, you register students, but you don't have their ID, so it needs to be registered through the Social Security Administration's verification database. Why are we seeing so many coming back with no match? Non-citizens going to college in this country. Bad SSNs or incomplete or incorrect numbers or non-existent numbers. And so someone may be going to these areas, pulling transcripts and lists and student records, registering them to vote. Why? Because the universal mail-in votes will land at their doorstep. And that's really it. It's not going to be illegal immigrants. It's going to be a 22-year-old who gets a mail-in ballot and goes, I didn't know I was registered. Knock on the door. Hey, why don't you fill that out? They are being automatically registered, I'm saying. And it may actually just be much simpler than that. Not that anyone's doing anything fraudulently. But the university is just saying, would you like us to submit your information for voter registration? And they go, okay, sure. So they're automatically registering young people because they know young people lean Dem. That really could be an answer. And this is not outside the rules. Understand this. When Republicans are like, we got it in the bag, we're tracking the legal strategies, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe it. I don't believe they are. Democrats are likely saying, let's do maximum voter registration at universities. When people are signing up for school, let's ask them if we can submit for registration. When they say yes and sign it, we send it in. They could be sitting there saying, okay, and do you want to fill out this registration form to vote? Totally allowed. They say, oh, okay, sure. Universal mail-in ballot will land at their doorstep. Next thing you know, Pennsylvania goes blue. Michigan goes blue. Wisconsin goes blue. 270 Democrat to 268 Republican. And that's all within the rules. Ain't nothing illegal about that. Registering young people. And Burchett says, yeah, but college age people don't vote. He's right. They don't. Until a Democrat shows up at their doorstep, knocks on the door, and says, can you fill that out for me? And then they do. So there are some people predicting a Trump landslide. We'll see. But I'll tell you what. I'm going to go into, for our next segment at 1 p.m., exactly why I just despise the GOP. I've never been a fan. I will never be a fan. There's no political party for me, right? If I had to choose, it's Ron Paul. You know what I mean? And I don't even agree with the guy in everything. I remember back in the day, and this is a quote, the Libertarian Party quoted me on this because it's a good quote, or at least they liked it. I said something like, I don't agree with Ron Paul on everything. In fact, I agree with him on relatively little. But the things we agree on are the important ones. When Ron Paul says he's in favor of some policy or plan or whatever that I don't like, I say, I don't know about that. But then he says, I just want the government to leave you alone. They shouldn't be involved. And I go, sir, agreed. We shake hands. Because if I believe in, we should run our programs this way, and Ron Paul says, oh, you can't do that because you got to run it this way. And then he goes, but don't worry. My vote will be that the government doesn't bother you. I'm like, hey, there we go. You leave me alone. Let me do my thing. I'll leave you alone. You do your thing. I love that. While we view the world differently, we agree not to interfere where we can. And then there are certain issues like abortion, which are really tough. And I do think we need a Supreme Court ruling on that. We'll see. But that's why I like Ron Paul. I don't see a political party for me anywhere. Mises Caucus gets pretty close. I like those guys. Libertarian Party, Mises Caucus. But Libertarian Party is a bunch. Look, I'll tell you what the Libertarian Party is. It's people who are mad a thing is illegal. And they're voting Libertarian so that hopefully it will not be illegal anymore. That's it. Democrats are the party of the cult. Republicans are the party of the, for the most part, the uppity do-gooders who think they're better men. Fortunately, Donald Trump kicked the door in, and now we have something slightly different. A populist, pro-America, moderate position. And they won't admit it. They say Trump's far right. He ain't far right. Trump's a moderate. You take a look at Trump's social policy, moderate. Yeah, we don't want any of the weird woke stuff, but he certainly isn't coming out saying shut down gay marriage. In fact, Trump said, guys, that one's over. Okay, that's been ruled. That's been decided. Trump's a moderate. I like it. That's why I'll vote for Trump. No new wars. Fantastic. But the GOP is the vessel by which Trump is seeking to win the presidency. And they are a bunch of crackpot, crony, garbage morons who get nothing done, save a small handful. Like I mentioned, Ron Paul, legend. Rand Paul, the best. And then you've got, Burchett's cool. He's made some mistakes. We can agree with that. Matt Gaetz, absolutely fantastic. Rep Luna, you are awesome. Who else? Massey's fantastic. I disagree with Thomas Massey on a lot, but he is a good dude, and I have tremendous respect for him. There's a very Marjorie Taylor Greene I like, Boebert I like, and I don't know if they like each other, but I think there are fighters in Congress. It's just there's too few. There's too few. And if I missed you, I miss you. I'm sorry. And also shout out to Riley Moore, who's going to be entering Congress. Well, to be honest, Riley won the primary in like a deep Republican area. So he hasn't actually won election yet, but there's nobody who's going to beat Riley. Like, we're really excited for that. And so we got to make sure we get out there and just everybody's got to register everybody they can to vote. Everyone's got to vote. Republicans, please vote. I hate the Republican Party so much, but you got to vote. You got to Charlestown, West Virginia. It's got a Latin mass. Thousands of people marching down the streets in a Catholic Latin mass, and they elected a woke city council. Why? I asked one of the city councilmen, he goes, conservatives won't vote. Democrats show up and bash their faces on the wall to vote. Man, Republicans, go vote. Lord help me. All right, next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. I'll talk more about why I'm so sick of the Republican Party. Ugh. Thanks for hanging out. You can follow me on X at Timcast, and I'll see you all then.